Frugivore, welcome back to another episode. So I have been a bit MIA recently, sorry about that. I have been focusing on the upcoming 6-month course, the Frugivore Diet Course, which I'm hosting on Facebook in the VIP community. So you should definitely join us, check that out. It is starting in January. So today's video, I want it to be a little bit more of a deep dive into what I eat in a day with a bit more explanation rather than, the quick short video of what I eat in a day and showing you kind of various dishes that I'm having at the moment in particular. Okay, let's get into it. So for breakfast, I will generally go for some exercise, whether it's a jog or working on the land. And then when I come back from that exercise, I will have either or end, like a coconut, and then I'll have my Glow sugar water. So the coconut is from the land. It's beautiful. I love having like the coconut water. And sometimes I will also have that flesh, but not the mature coconut. That's not good to start your day with mature coconut, that's for sure. So the Glow water recipe, a lot of you know this sugar water recipe at this point because I've showed it quite a lot, but it's around 800 mils of water and 4 tablespoons of sun crystals or sugar, white sugar, yes, get it in, and a handful or so of like frozen berries and lime, the juice of 1 lime. Mix that up and it is so good. So good. Sometimes I will have a juice, like a fresh juice, if we have enough produce on hand. But we live like a long way away from the local grocery store where you can get quantity of citrus. So that's not always possible. But when I do have it, I usually add some sun crystals because it's rarely sweet enough. I want it sweet. I want that energy. I want that vitality that the sugar brings. So that is kind of like a pre-breakfast. I shouldn't call it a breakfast. It's definitely not a breakfast. I don't recommend you replace your breakfast with that. But it's a good replacement for like coffee, right? Or these protein shakes and teas and all sorts of matcha, whatever. Definitely replace that with the Glow sugar water and you're really going to notice a difference. So pretty soon after that, I will have a more substantial breakfast with the fiber, with all of the micronutrients, everything like that comes with the whole food, which is also important. So depending on what we've been harvesting from the land, I will eat that. So my breakfast is almost always banana based. The banana girl's got to get her bananas in. And that will be anything from 8 to 12 bananas. I really believe in a big breakfast because it helps you make better decisions later on in the day because you're not ravenous. It's taken the edge off. It's not going to protect you completely, but it's really important, especially if you have, binging issues or just you're not really that focused later on in the day, like on health and stuff like that. Like a lot of people aren't. It progressively gets bad, right? You get up in the morning. It's the easiest time for everybody to eat something healthy. And then it progressively gets harder. People go to work or they have to have dinner with the family, all of that. It ends up usually getting worse. So definitely get in as much nutrition, good, healthy, frugivore nutrition early in the day. So that's what I do. We will harvest bananas. We've been harvesting many bunches. It's been just so much abundance. I feel like, it's incredible living in the Garden of Freedom. I love it. It can be something like, I will show you here. This is one dish that I will have for breakfast. Okay, so we have banana breakfast. I've got some lime, putting lime all over it. I'll put the other one as well. But we're also going to add some sun crystals. They're actually clear, they're not white. And this is about 12 bananas, by the way. It's a lot. And some more. And it's actually really nice combo. The lime and the sugar. If it's not that, I'll have a smoothie with bananas, berries, maybe dates, maybe some sun crystals as well. And that's delicious. For lunch, I do prefer to eat rather than smoothie. You can also have a smoothie for lunch, and that is fine, and that is really healthy for most people. But I do like to eat the food as well. That's, we're designed to eat, obviously, and not just kind of drink everything. So I would have, at the moment, mangoes are in season, so I'm getting some mangoes. So we'll be having them, which is just amazing. I love mangoes. Or jackfruit. We are just getting so much jackfruit at the moment. It is insanely good. And, it can go on for like 6 months. So the problem with jackfruit is it's kind of, it depends on the plant. Some plants you won't really get that much good fruit from, so you have to account for that, and so you won't be getting as much abundance as you want. But some trees are just incredible, and if you grow jackfruit, you will understand what I'm talking about. Some trees just give just such amazing like varieties of jackfruit. So we hit that hard, usually for lunch, and so it's just some whole food. Some mono meal is usually what I'll have for lunch. But sometimes I might have the sunshine sushi, which I'll talk about soon as well. And let's move on to dinner, because I don't really snack much at all. During the day, I might have an olive here or there. Like, I kind of like that salty olive sometimes. But honestly, snacking is not where it's at. I really try to avoid that. It keeps insulin and blood sugar levels stable when you're not snacking all the time. Also keeps your energy levels stable as well, so because the body isn't diverting a lot of energy to your digestive system all the time. Every time you're snacking, blood is going to your digestive system, and it's going from your limbs, basically. It's going from your brain. It's going from places where you want more energy. And although it can be a small amount if it's just snacking, it's still taking away and still rising the insulin and the blood sugar. And I think it's better to definitely, keep it more stable. In saying that, I might also have another glow water later on in the day, so with another 4 tablespoons of sugar. So that's a total of around 8 tablespoons of sugar. And for each tablespoon of sugar, that represents basically 1 banana. That's the sugar that you'll get in 1 banana. So that's something to, you've got to, compare notes with as far as the sugar content goes. So dinner is usually around 4 p.m. because my partner and I, we like to eat early when the sun is up, and then we have quite a few hours digesting before we go to bed. So you have a better sleep in general if you're doing that, rather than eating quite late at night when we wouldn't have eaten in nature at night. There's no way. And because you just don't have light. And then like going to bed quite soon after that, like within an hour or so, that's just not the best. So that's something to consider. And usually, it depends on the season. It depends on what time of year as to what we will have. But at the moment, we are having Shine Diet recipes. We're having a lot of Shine Diet. And we're also having still some starchy meals, which we're kind of phasing out. We're at the stage where we're having like raw dinners, we're having Shine Diet dinners, and Shine Diet is my own creation, basically, where you'll be focusing on cooked fruit dinners. And we have some amazing Shine Diet recipes in the community. You have to join and see these, like there's recipe demonstrations for each one of these videos, and there's more coming all the time. So I have been having Shine Diet recipes like peach curry, like metabolic fire peppers with gut glow rice, fruit patties, some really satisfying, amazing recipes that don't have starch or very low starch, like even this pumpkin rice stir fry, which is really, really tasty as well, based on pumpkin. See, pumpkin is a low starch fruit. It does still have some, but hardly anything. And we are avoiding the grains at this point. Sometimes Snopey, my partner, will have the buckwheat bread. He like actually cooked a whole lot of buckwheat bread and he freezes it, so he'll have some of that. But I don't have that. And generally I'm having the Shine Diet recipes, or sometimes I am having some potato, but I'm avoiding the grains, like I said, or sweet potato. But I prefer to have the starch coming from the fruit. Starchy fruit is always going to digest better than starchy tubers or starchy grains. So that's something to consider. And something that's quite controversial, I guess, that I've been having recently, but I want to be transparent with you, okay? Because there's a lot of people out there, raw vegans, whatever, binging out on all sorts of things like Chipotle or whatever, and they don't tell you. They won't tell you about it. But I want to be transparent so you know exactly what I'm doing and why it's okay. You don't have to focus on purity to have good health, okay? You don't have to be 100% raw all the time, or anything like that. And sometimes that just really doesn't work for people in this world that we live in. So just relax, relax on that. And what we have been having recently, see, we used to go to Thai. We used to go to Thai food and have dinner there occasionally. And honestly, the oil content, we tried to ask for no oil, but it never works. There's always some oil involved. It just seems to be impossible to communicate that fully, because I think they just feel like, oh, it's not going to taste good. So what we do instead here and there is we have some frozen fries. Okay, and so these frozen fries, they have been like flash cooked in oil, but a very small amount of oil. It's like 2.3 grams per 100. So it's still easy to keep within that 5 to 10% of daily calories from fat. And I know oil is not great. You shouldn't be eating it. I do avoid it whenever I can. But this is such a small amount, and we found that we felt completely fine. And it actually digests better for us than making the fresh fries, because I hear some of you, you're like, why don't you just like cut up some potatoes? It's so lazy. You're getting a bag of frozen fries and you're baking them that way. And I hear you can do that. But we've actually found it digests better for us from the bag. And I think it may have to do with the fact that it's probably harvested and then quite quickly it's processed rather than stored for too long. Or when it is stored, it's stored in, an optimal environment. But here in Australia, it's really easy for these potatoes to be basically, growing those eyes and roots and stuff like that and going green and basically developing more defense chemicals the longer they stay out and light hits them. So I think that might be part of the reason they digest better. They're also pre-frozen, so that could be a part of it as well. Something to think about, but that I just wanted to be transparent. We have been having that as a very convenient option occasionally, and it seems to be absolutely fine for us. Whether I'll do that long term, we don't know. So another dinner that we've been making is the breadfruit pizza, and this recipe is in my Binge Free Me ebook. If you want to check that out, there's a link in the description below, amongst 100 other weight loss recipes throughout my books. But breadfruit pizza is incredible, and I know it is starchy, but for me, I don't know if I'm ever going to be able to omit this from my diet, because it is so available to us. We have so many trees and we can basically live off it during breadfruit season. So that's a tough one. That is a tough one for us. And you can see, look how yummy this pizza looks. It really turns out fantastic. The base is perfect. You get a crunchy, crispy outer layer. It's kind of like a softer base. It just reminds me exactly of a wheat pizza. I don't know how this is, but I basically just decided to try it one day, because I boiled up the breadfruit and I'm like, wow, it's kind of like doughy. Let's see if we can make a pizza out of it. And we did, and created something pretty amazing. And breadfruit is also a fruit, so it definitely digests better than these starch-based grains and starch-based tubers. And also the sushi, the sunshine sushi. This is by far my favorite raw food sushi ever. And I have not seen anyone make this anywhere on the internet. I was trying to find it so I could get some tips, but then I'm like, oh God, I need to create this myself. And it just turned out like, yes, apples are so underrated. They really, really are. And I have a good recipe in the group where it's not just apples. It's not just apples in the sushi. It has like basically sushi seasoning and everything like that. It's a good mix, and I am very satisfied with it if I have sushi that has about 5 apples in it. Okay, so here we have dinner, and this is like 10 apples. This is a bit of chili sauce that I made myself, fermented chili sauce. Really yum. You're going to love this recipe if you actually make it. This is part of dinner. Some of that's going to be Snoopy's, but most of it's going to be mine, because he will probably have buckwheat bread. And I'm going to have a few bananas before we get into it, just to take the edge off. So this is the sunshine sushi. And this is diluted tamari. I don't like having it straight because it's just too much sodium. So I may release that recipe soon, because I know people are like, give me that recipe. just as a bit of a preview to get you into the group as well, into the community, and to learn all about this wonderful diet and lifestyle, a bit of a carrot to entice you in. So yeah, that's it really. When you have these raw vegan dishes for dinner and stuff, you need to make sure you're getting enough carbohydrates and enough calories in general, or else you're just really not going to get enough energy. And the next day when you go to take a run or a walk, exercise, you're just not going to feel like you got energy. Right? You need to have the fuel. And I also add sun crystals to that as well. When it comes to exercise, I'm averaging over 12,000 steps per day. And I really think, from the science, from experience as well, just watching people and seeing the people who are getting the best results are generally doing over 12,000 steps a day. This is something to think about. We talk about it in the group, in the course, and I invite you to join us. Okay, let us know in the comments below, and definitely join the waitlist for the 2026 Frugivore Diet Course. There's a link in the description below.